Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome back. I'm Sam, your lead tutor, and I am thrilled to see you continuing this journey. We are building a narrative here. In S1, we learned to be detectives, analyzing the root cause of a problem. In S2, we acted as navigators, plotting a course through risks. Today, we shift roles entirely. We become the architect. We are tackling Skill 3, or S3, analyze a business problem in order to specify an appropriate digital and technology solution. Think of this skill as the bridge. On one side, you have the messy, human world of business problems. On the other side, you have the precise, logical world of technical engineering. S3 is the bridge that connects them. Our objective today is to turn you into a translator. By the end of this session, you will know how to take a vague business request and turn it into a precise instruction manual, a specification that a technical team can actually use. Here is the hard truth: if you cannot specify it clearly, the team cannot build it correctly. Ambiguity is the enemy of delivery. Let's learn how to defeat it. Let's decode exactly what S3 demands of us. The definition is, analyze a business problem in order to specify an appropriate digital and technology solution. The operating word here is specify. To specify means to describe something in exact detail, leaving no room for confusion. It is the opposite of being vague. We also have the constraint of appropriate. This tests your professional judgment. You could specify a supercomputer to run a simple spreadsheet, but is that appropriate? No, it must be feasible, affordable, and fit for purpose. The trap many apprentices fall into is confusing a wish with a specification. If a stakeholder says, "I want a fast car," that is a wish. It is subjective. If you say, "I require a vehicle that accelerates from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 3.5 seconds, that is a specification. One is a feeling, the other is an instruction. S3 is about writing instructions. So, how do we build this specification? We need to categorize our requirements into two distinct buckets. First, we have functional requirements. These describe the what. What must the system actually do? These are the features. For example, the system shall allow the user to log in. Second, and often neglected, are the non-functional requirements, or NFRs. These describe the how. How must the system behave? These are qualities like speed, security, and reliability. For example, the login process must complete in under 2 seconds. That is a performance NFR. Or, the data must be encrypted. That is a security NFR. Here is the reality: if you forget the NFRs, you will fail. You might build a system that technically works, it functions, but if it takes 5 minutes to load a page, nobody will use it. You must specify both. In modern agile environments, we don't always write massive instruction manuals. We often use user stories to specify requirements. A user story is a simple, powerful template, as a role, I want to feature, so that benefit. Let's look at an example. As a customer, I want to save my credit card details so that I can check out faster next time. This format is brilliant because it forces you to include the so that. It forces you to justify the business value immediately. If you find yourself writing a requirement and you can't think of a valid so that stop, you might be specifying a feature that nobody actually needs. Here is a hard truth about projects: you never have enough budget to build everything. Therefore, part of S3 is prioritizing the specification. The standard industry tool for this is the Moscow method. It's an acronym. M stands for must have. These are non-negotiable. If this is missing, the solution is illegal or useless. S is should have. These are high priority, but if the project is delayed, we could survive without them for a few weeks using a workaround. C is could have. These are the bells and whistles. We only build these if we are ahead of schedule. W is won't have. This is crucial. It's where we explicitly agree on what we are not doing. Your role as an apprentice is to facilitate this. Stakeholders will say everything is a must. Your job is to gently guide them to move things into should or could to make the project deliverable. Now, let's look at how this applies to your specific roles. For Tom, our business analyst, and Aisha, our consultant, S3 is your primary domain. Tom, you own the user stories. Your application of this skill involves interviewing stakeholders, elicitation, and then writing the detailed acceptance criteria that tells the developers exactly when a task is done. Aisha, as a consultant, your focus is on the word appropriate. A client might ask for a custom-coded application costing £50,000. Your analysis might reveal that an off-the-shelf product for £5,000 does 90% of the job. By specifying the cheaper solution, you save the client money. For both of you, the takeaway is that you are the guardians of value. You ensure we build the right thing. For our technical specialists, Chloe, Ben, Maya, and Liam, you might think specs are just for BAs. You are wrong. Chloe, as a software engineer, you don't just read specs, you critique them. If a BA specifies zero latency, you use your S3 skill to say, that is impossible. Let's specify 50 ms. You help refine the blueprint. Then, in data, you specify the data dictionary. You define exactly what a field like active customer means so that everyone measures it the same way. And for Maya and Liam in security in networks, you specify the controls. You are the ones writing the NFRs that say, all data must be encrypted with AES 256, or the network must support 10 gigabits throughput. You ensure the blueprint is safe and robust before a single brick is laid. How do you apply S3 at work tomorrow? Start by looking at what already exists. Ask your project manager to see the requirements document or the Jira board for your current project. Read them. Are they clear? Next, practice reverse engineering. Look at a tool you use every day, like your Outlook calendar. Try to write the user story that would have created that feature. As an employee, I want to view colleagues' availability so that I can book meetings without conflicts. Doing this trains your brain to think in specifications. Finally, look for bugs. Often, a bug is actually just a missing specification. The developer didn't know how to handle a specific error because nobody specified it. Your action: volunteer to take notes or scribe requirements in your next team planning meeting. Get close to the blueprint. For your portfolio, we need to capture this using the STAR method. S3 is a great opportunity for strong evidence. Situation: the client needed a new reporting dashboard, but their requirements were vague. Task: I needed to specify the solution to ensure the data team built the right charts. Action: this is the key. I facilitated a workshop to gather requirements. I used the Moscow method to prioritize features. I wrote 5 detailed user stories and defined the non-functional requirement regarding data refresh rates. Result: the dashboard was delivered on time with zero rework needed. Reflection: I learned that investing time in the specification saves massive amounts of time during the build. For evidence, take screenshots of the user stories you wrote or the Jira tickets you updated. That is gold for your EPA. We have learned that S3 is the art of translation. We take vague problems and turn them into precise, appropriate blueprints. We have added user stories, NFRs, and Moscow prioritization to your toolkit. Remember the mindset: ambiguity is the enemy. If it isn't written down, it doesn't exist. Your next step is simple. Write just one user story for a task you are working on this week. Practice the format. In our next session, we move to S4, initiate, design, code, test and debug. We will take the blueprint we created today, and we will finally get our hands dirty and start building. You are doing great work. I'll see you there.